The chandeliers of the plaza glittered like 1,000 diamonds, reflecting the countdown clock projected on the marble wall. Olivia Hart stood near the champagne tower, wrapped in a black satin Dior dress that hugged her slender frame. Around her, Manhattan's elite clinked crystal glasses, shouting the final seconds of the year. She smiled faintly, scanning the crowd for Adrian Cole, the man she believed was her future. He was the CEO of Coalbridge Capital, a man whose name opened doors. They had spent 2 years building each other's dreams, or so she thought. Tonight, he was supposed to announce their engagement right after the fireworks. Olivia's heart fluttered when she saw the platinum Tiffany blue box he had promised to give her after midnight. But when she reached the top-floor sky suite, something felt off. The hallway was silent, except for the muffled sound of laughter and the faint clink of glass. She pushed the door slightly open. Inside, under the golden light of the suite, stood Adrian, her Adrian, kissing another woman with a passion that froze her blood. The woman's red hair gleamed under the chandelier. It took Olivia 2 seconds to recognize that hair. Kayla Brooks, her best friend since college. The room spun. The Tiffany blue box still sat unopened on the table, next to Adrian's Mont Blanc pen and a half-empty bottle of Dom Perignon. Kayla's hand rested over his chest, her laugh soft, familiar, cruel. Olivia stepped back, the heel of her shoe catching the carpet. Her champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering. The sound was drowned by the fireworks bursting over Central Park. Adrian turned, eyes wide, not in guilt, but annoyance. Kayla froze, color draining from her face. Olivia's lips trembled, but no words came. Every memory, the late-night talks, the promises, the trust, collapsed like the champagne tower outside. She ran, down the corridor, through the crowd counting down to midnight. 10-9 echoed in her ears like gunshots. By the time "Happy New Year" erupted across the ballroom, Olivia stood alone under the grand chandelier, mascara streaking down her cheeks. The clock struck 12. She opened her phone, fingers shaking, ready to delete every photo, every text. But before she could, her screen lit up with a notification, a live news clip showing the fireworks above the plaza. For a split second, the camera panned across a window of the Sky Suite. And there, clear as day, the world saw Adrian Cole, the powerful CEO, kissing a red-haired woman in his arms. Somewhere in the crowd, someone whispered, "Isn't that the CEO of Coalbridge?" Olivia's heart stopped. The city would know. The truth was no longer hers to hide, and she realized, at that exact moment, this betrayal would not destroy her, it would expose them both. The morning light hit the tall glass windows of Olivia's apartment like a cruel spotlight. Her phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Notifications flooded the screen. Breaking. CEO Adrian Cole caught in scandal at the Plaza Hotel. The video clip from the live broadcast had gone viral overnight. Hashtags were everywhere. Number Plaza scandal, number CEO infidelity, number red hair affair. Olivia sat on the edge of her bed, still in the black Dior dress from the night before, mascara smudged under her eyes. The city outside moved as usual. Yellow cabs, honking horns, people rushing to work. But her world had stopped. The video played on her phone again. The camera caught the moment Adrian leaned in, Kayla's red hair gleaming under the chandelier, the same Tiffany box sitting unopened on the table. Every major network had replayed it on loop. Olivia's name wasn't mentioned, not yet. But she could see it coming. The internet always found its target. She opened her email. Dozens of unread messages blinked back, reporters, gossip blogs, even her old college classmates asking if it was true. But one subject line made her stomach twist. Urgent. Coalbridge contract review. She clicked. It was from the company's HR department, written cold and formal. Due to reputational concerns, your consulting contract with Coalbridge Capital will be temporarily suspended pending further review. Her breath caught. Reputational concerns. She hadn't done anything wrong, but the scandal had her name all over it. She'd spent years building her career in New York, and now it was slipping away because of someone else's betrayal. Olivia tried calling Adrian. Straight to voicemail. Kayla's number too. Both had blocked her. Rage trembled beneath her skin, but so did heartbreak. She opened her laptop, a silver MacBook Pro, that still smelled faintly of Adrian's cologne, and stared at the half-finished marketing presentation she'd created for his company. On the last slide, she had written, "The soul of a brand is integrity. How ironic." She hit delete. But before the screen cleared, the file suddenly disappeared on its own. Gone. Completely erased. Her brow furrowed. She checked the folder. Everything tied to Coalbridge, invoices, pitch decks, legal drafts, was missing. Someone had remotely accessed her drive. Her phone buzzed again. This time, a message from an unknown number. "You should have stayed quiet, Olivia." Her blood ran cold. She glanced at her reflection in the dark screen, pale face, trembling hands. The message vanished before she could screenshot it. Outside, the TV in the cafe across the street displayed Adrian's face. He stood on the steps of his Manhattan headquarters, wearing his usual calm CEO smile, saying the words she knew too well: personal matters should not overshadow professional integrity. Professional integrity. The same words he'd stolen from her proposal. Tears blurred her vision. She threw on a coat, grabbed her keys, and rushed out into the cold morning. Snowflakes hit her cheeks like tiny shards of glass. Cameras flashed near the building entrance. Someone shouted her name. She ducked into a passing cab, whispering her address. As the cab turned down Park Avenue, Olivia clutched her phone to her chest. She wasn't ready to be the victim in someone else's story. Not again. Back home, she powered up her laptop, determined to find out who deleted her files. Then, a soft ding. Another email arrived. No sender, no subject. Only one attachment. A PDF titled M.A. Timeline Confidential. She hesitated, then opened it. It was the internal timeline for the Coalbridge merger, with Adrian's signature. The last edit timestamp? December 31, 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes before midnight. 2 minutes before the world saw him kiss her best friend. Olivia whispered to herself, "You buried me last night, Adrian. But you forgot I know how to dig." Olivia didn't sleep that night. The only light in her apartment came from her laptop screen, reflecting off the city's skyline through the frosted window. Snow kept falling outside, but her thoughts burned like wildfire. That mysterious file, M&A Timeline, Confidential, sat open on her desktop, each line a piece of a puzzle she didn't understand yet. At the bottom of the document was a small footnote, prepared by O. Hart, her initials, her name. Someone inside Coalbridge had labeled her as the author of a timeline tied to a multi-million-dollar merger. If that deal turned out to be fraudulent, she could take the fall. Her fingers trembled as she called her former IT consultant, Ben. He was half asleep when he answered, but his tone sharpened when he heard what she described. "Send me the metadata," he said. "I'll check who accessed your drive." 30 minutes later, his reply came. "Liv, someone logged into your account from Coalbridge's network at 1:42 a.m. The user ID belongs to Kayla Brooks." Olivia froze. Kayla had used her credentials. Her so-called best friend didn't just steal her boyfriend. She'd broken into her system. Anger surged through her veins, cutting through the exhaustion. She scrolled through the email history. Kayla had sent herself drafts, campaign files, even private messages between Olivia and Adrian. Everything she had built, every idea she'd pitched, was in their hands now. On impulse, she searched the company's press portal. A draft press release sat in preview mode. Coalbridge Capital announces strategic merger with Swiss Equities. She scanned the quotes. Adrian's name appeared, glowing in bold. Right below it, another line read, "Statement reviewed by Olivia Hart, senior consultant." Her stomach knotted. She'd never reviewed this document. Someone had planted her name there to legitimize the deal. If this merger collapsed under investigation, she'd be the scapegoat. Thunder cracked outside. The skyline flashed. Olivia grabbed her coat, laptop, and stormed into the cold night. She needed answers. The Coalbridge headquarters towered over Park Avenue, its glass fade glowing blue against the storm. Security stopped her at the lobby. "You can't go up, ma'am. The CEO isn't taking visitors." "I'm not here for him," she snapped. "I'm here for my name." The guard hesitated. She turned and left before he could respond. Standing outside in the falling snow, she watched her reflection on the building's glass, Small, fragile, but alive. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. You should have deleted that file. Olivia looked around. The street was empty except for the wind and headlights slicing through the snow. Fear gripped her chest, but something inside her shifted. She wasn't going to run. Not anymore. She ducked into a nearby 24-hour diner, ordered black coffee, and opened her laptop. She typed furiously, compiling everything. Timestamps, emails, call logs, the hacked activity. Ben messaged again. Live, listen, there's more. The document was last edited by Adrian Cole's admin account. He used your signature block. Her heart pounded. He hadn't just stolen her trust, he'd stolen her identity. At the corner table, an older woman reading the Wall Street Journal glanced up at Olivia and smiled faintly. You look like someone about to start a war, she said softly. Olivia returned the smile, though her eyes glistened. Maybe I am. Outside, the snow turned heavier, muffling the city's noise. Inside, her laptop screen glowed brighter. She created a new folder and titled it in bold letters, The Truth. She didn't know how yet, but she'd prove it. Because this wasn't just heartbreak anymore, it was war. Snow swallowed the city for 3 straight days. Manhattan looked like a black and white photograph, beautiful but lifeless. Olivia barely left her apartment. She lived on black coffee and leftover pasta, her MacBook glowing like a small moon in the dark. The file folder she'd named The Truth sat on her desktop, growing thicker by the hour. Emails, screenshots, access logs. Yet the more evidence she collected, the lonelier she felt. By the 4th morning, the heating pipes hissed and her phone buzzed with another news alert. Coalbridge CEO stabilizes stock after scandal. Adrian's smiling face filled the screen, confident, untouchable. The headline underneath made her sick. Anonymous leak claims former consultant fabricated data. Former consultant. Fabricated. Her. Olivia hurled the phone onto the couch, her hands shaking. Someone inside was framing her already. She wrapped herself in a blanket, staring at the city outside, cars buried under snow, steam rising from subway vents. For the first time in her life, she felt invisible. A soft knock startled her. She hesitated before opening the door. A woman in her early 40s stood there, snowflakes melting on her dark coat. Sharp eyes, calm voice. Olivia Hart? Yes, she whispered. Elena Park, corporate counsel. I think we should talk. Olivia blinked. How did you find me? Your name came up in a financial compliance thread, Elena said, stepping inside. She placed a leather folder on the table. I used to work for Coalbridge before I realized Adrian's charm hides rot. And now, that rot's spreading to you. They sat facing each other. Elena opened the folder copies of internal emails, meeting notes, a flowchart of the merger. You're listed as the verifying consultant for the Swiss transaction. If the SEC investigates, they'll come for you first. Olivia's throat tightened. I never touched those documents. I believe you, Elena said. But belief isn't enough. You need proof timed, signed, and traceable. And someone powerful enough to make it count. Sen. Olivia leaned forward. Why help me? Because I hate men like him, Elena said simply. And because you still have one advantage. What advantage? Your silence, Elena said. Everyone else is talking. You keep quiet. You stay unpredictable. For the first time in days, Olivia's pulse slowed. Elena spoke with a clarity that cut through the fog. Together, they drafted a plan: secure backups, document chain of custody, hide originals offline. Olivia transferred all data to an encrypted flash drive and locked it inside her old jewelry box, the one Adrian once filled with love letters. When evening came, they stood by the window, watching the snow fall over the frozen city. You know, Elena said, Manhattan loves to watch people fall, but it also loves a comeback. Olivia smiled faintly. Then I'll give them one worth watching. Elena buttoned her coat. Good. Tomorrow, we start with Coalbridge's board filings. Somewhere in those papers lies the key to burning him down legally. Olivia nodded, but her gaze drifted to the street below. Across the road, a black Mercedes S-Class idled, engine humming through the snow. Its headlights stayed fixed on her window for several seconds before driving away. A chill crawled up her spine. She turned back to Elena. "He knows," she whispered. Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we move faster." "Now." And as the snowstorm raged outside, Olivia realized she wasn't hiding anymore. She was preparing for battle. By Monday morning, Manhattan had thawed, but Olivia's determination had turned to ice. She and Elena met at a corner cafe near Bryant Park, the kind with fogged windows and soft jazz humming beneath the chatter of suits. Olivia brought her laptop, Elena brought clarity. Between them sat 2 cappuccinos and a mountain of risk. "Start with what only you would know," Elena said. Something Kayla couldn't fake. Olivia scrolled through old files, her pulse quickening. There it was, the original press kit Kayla had sent her for feedback 2 weeks before New Year's Eve. Olivia opened the final version posted online after the scandal. At first glance, they looked identical. But she zoomed in. The devil, as Elena said, was always in the details. "The embargo date," Olivia whispered. She changed it. Elena leaned closer. "Explain." "Sing." "In PR, embargo means the time media can release the news," Olivia said. "In my draft, it was January 3rd. In hers, it's December 31st before market closure. That's illegal. It manipulates investor timing." Elena's lips curved slightly. "You just found your first thread." Olivia's hands trembled as she compared line after line. Another inconsistency. The banker listed as lead financial advisor wasn't the same one Coleridge had actually used. And the quote attributed to Adrian, "Integrity drives our success," wasn't in her draft at all. She looked up. Someone fabricated this version to fast-track the merger. Or to sell before it tanked, Elena added grimly. They printed both copies, marking differences in red. "We'll need more proof," Elena said. "Emails, timestamps, witness accounts. And you can't rely on digital backups, they'll erase traces." Olivia nodded, writing everything down in a leather notebook. "I'll start with the photographer," she murmured. "What photographer?" "The one from the Plaza Gala. He took candid shots that night. If any photo shows the clock behind them, it proves the kiss happened before midnight, before the merger announcement." Elena smiled. "That's smart. It confirms the timeline. Find him." Later that afternoon, Olivia followed a faint lead through her inbox, an invoice from Riverlight Studios, dated December 31st. She called the number. A tired male voice answered. "This is Connor." "Hi, Connor. You were the event photographer for Coleridge's New Year's Eve gala, right?" "Yeah, who's asking?" "Olivia Hart." A long pause. Then, a sharp intake of breath. "You were the woman in black." Olivia closed her eyes. "Yes, I still remember," Connor said. "I saw everything. Look, I don't want trouble. I already got warned to keep quiet." "Warned by who?" she pressed. He hesitated. "A woman named Kayla. She said legal action would follow if I released anything." Olivia's pulse quickened. "Connor, I don't need the photo. Just tell me, what time did it happen?" "About 11:45 p.m., he said. "I still have the raw files with timestamps. But I can't hand them over without protection." "I can get you protection," she said firmly. "I'll have my lawyer contact you." After the call, she sat back, heart pounding. Elena's words echoed in her mind, thread by thread, until the whole fabric unravels. Outside, the snow had melted into a thin mist over the park. A new kind of storm was coming, invisible but unstoppable. Olivia stared at the skyline, clutching the folder of evidence. "You used my name to build your empire, Adrian," she whispered. "Now I'll use the truth to tear it down." And somewhere on Park Avenue, a man watching her from a tinted Mercedes whispered back, "Let's see who survives the fall." Forzen, the river calf, sat beneath the Brooklyn Bridge, where the city lights shimmered across the East River like broken glass. Olivia walked in, wrapped in a gray coat, clutching her leather folder close to her chest. The smell of espresso and rain filled the air. At the far corner, a man in his 30s waved nervously. Connor, the event photographer. He looked tired, his eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. "You shouldn't have called me here," he said quietly as she sat down. "You said you have the raw photos from the plaza," Olivia said, her tone steady but low. "You said they're time-stamped." Connor nodded, glancing around the cafe as if someone might be watching. I have them on a hard drive. But I got threats, Miss Hart. Someone from Coleridge reached out, offered me 10 grand to delete everything. Olivia's heart skipped. Did you take the money? No, he said. But I didn't delete them either. I backed them up, offline. I don't care about your drama, but if that merger's dirty, I don't want to be part of it. She took a slow breath. You're already part of it. You saw what they didn't want anyone to see. Connor rubbed his temples. Look, I just want protection. I'll testify if needed, but I'm not ruining my life for a photo. I can arrange legal protection, Olivia said. My attorney will handle it. I just need you to verify that the picture shows 11:45 p.m. before the market announcement. 2. He nodded, sliding a USB drive across the table. That's the metadata. I made a copy for myself, just in case. As her fingers brushed the drive, Connor's phone buzzed. He looked down, then paled. It's them, he whispered. The screen flashed an unknown number. He ignored it, shoving the phone into his jacket. They know I'm here. Olivia's throat tightened. Connor, listen to me. Don't go home. I'll call my lawyer right now. Before she could dial, the cafe door swung open. A tall man in a dark coat stepped in, scanning the room. His eyes landed on them. Olivia's blood turned to ice. That's Adrian's driver. She breathed. Connor froze. I'm leaving through the back, he whispered, pushing the hard drive toward her. Keep it safe. Don't call me again. He slipped out through the kitchen door, disappearing into the drizzle. The man in the coat followed seconds later. Olivia sat motionless, gripping the drive so tightly her knuckles whitened. She paid the bill with trembling hands and hurried outside, her breath forming clouds in the cold air. Across the river, Manhattan glittered, beautiful, deceptive, heartless. She called Elena. He has the photo. Metadata proves the kiss happened before midnight. Good, Elena said. That means it's admissible. I'll file an affidavit for Connor's statement. Olivia turned toward the street. There's something else, she said softly. Adrian sent someone after him. They're cleaning witnesses. There was silence on the line, then Elena's calm voice. Then we move faster. Keep the evidence offline. I'll meet you in an hour. She hung up, her reflection ghostly in the window of a passing Mercedes. Back at her apartment, Olivia locked the drive inside a drawer beneath stacks of paperwork. The city outside hummed like a restless machine. She looked at her trembling hands and whispered, They can erase files, but they can't erase truth. 5. Her phone buzzed again, a new text. Careful who you meet, Olivia. Some stories end in the river. She stared at the message until her reflection blurred. And somewhere out there, Connor's name vanished from every social feed, as if he'd never existed. Rain mixed with the leftover snow, turning the streets of Brooklyn into silver rivers beneath the bridge lights. Olivia's taxi stopped in front of the River Cafe, a place she once visited with Adrian when life still felt like a promise. Now, it was where she hoped to find proof that could destroy him. Inside, the cafe glowed warm, jazz humming softly through the clatter of dishes. At the far table near the window sat a man hunched over a camera bag, Connor Doyle, the photographer from the plaza. He looked older than his 30-something years, a weary soul trying to disappear. Mr. Doyle? Olivia asked. He looked up quickly, eyes flicking toward the door. You shouldn't have found me. People are asking questions. Bye. I'm one of them, she said, sitting down. You took the photos at the plaza. I need to see the original shots. He hesitated, glancing outside where rain painted streaks across the glass. You're the woman in black, he murmured. I remember the look on your face when you ran out. You didn't deserve that. Olivia swallowed hard. Then help me prove it, please. Connor sighed, pulling a small USB from his pocket. This has the unedited files. I kept them offline. Someone from Coleridge offered me money to delete them. When I refused, I started getting calls, no number, no voice, just breathing. Olivia's stomach tightened. You're saying they're threatening you? He nodded. And not just me. My sister works in Midtown. She got a visit yesterday from a man in a gray suit, asking if she liked her job. Her blood ran cold. Adrian was covering his tracks faster than she expected. Connor, if you give me this drive, I'll make sure you're protected, she said firmly. My lawyer will contact federal investigators. You'll be a witness, not a target. He hesitated, torn between fear and conscience. If I hand this over, it can't come back to me. It won't, she promised. He slid the drive across the table. The calf's light glinted off its metal surface like a loaded weapon. There's metadata proving the photo was taken at 11:45 p.m. before midnight. If that merger was filed after, someone forged timestamps. That's securities fraud. Olivia's heart pounded. That's exactly what I needed. But before she could pocket the drive, Connor's phone buzzed. The color drained from his face. It's them again. He silenced the call, eyes darting toward the window. Outside, a black Mercedes idled by the curb. Olivia followed his gaze and froze. The license plate, she'd seen it before. Adrian's car. Connor, she whispered, leave through the kitchen. He nodded, grabbed his bag, and slipped out the back door. Olivia waited 30 seconds, then paid her bill and exited through the front, keeping her hood low. The Mercedes' tinted window rolled down just enough for her to see a man in a dark coat watching her. Adrian's driver. She turned the corner, heart hammering. When she reached the subway entrance, she looked back. The car was gone. Back home, Olivia locked the door and set the USB on her desk beside a half-empty mug of cold coffee. She connected it to her MacBook, holding her breath as folders loaded. There they were, dozens of images. One, in particular, showed Adrian and Kayla framed by golden light, the clock in the background reading 11:45 p.m. proof. Before she could save it, her screen flickered, then went black. A message appeared, "Stop digging, Olivia." She yanked out the drive, heart racing. The lights in her apartment flickered once, twice, then steadied. Olivia pressed her forehead to the cold window pane, Manhattan shimmering beyond the river. "They can erase files," she whispered, "but not the truth." And somewhere in Brooklyn, under the same rain, Connor Doyle vanished, leaving only his camera bag behind. The next morning, Olivia woke to pounding on her door. For a second, she thought it was the police. But when she looked through the peephole, her heart stopped. Kayla Brooks stood there, flawless as ever, her red hair twisted in a sleek bun, a trench coat wrapped tight around her. The same woman who had stolen everything from her. Olivia hesitated before unlocking the door. "What do you want?" Kayla's lips trembled. "To explain." "Explain?" Olivia let out a bitter laugh. "You kissed my boyfriend in a hotel suite that I paid for, then hacked my computer. What's left to explain?" Kayla stepped inside anyway, eyes darting nervously. "Adrian told me you'd try to destroy him," she said. "He said you were spiraling, that you couldn't handle being replaced." "Replaced?" Olivia's voice cracked. "I was erased, Kayla. You two didn't just cheat. You made me disappear." For a moment, Kayla's confident mask faltered. "He promised me it was just business," she said, her voice trembling. "That the merger needed a cleaner name on the documents. He said, you agreed." Olivia froze. "He told you I agreed?" Kayla nodded, tears brimming. "I swear, I didn't know he forged your signature until the files leaked. I thought you were part of it." "That's your defense," Olivia said coldly. "You thought I'd sell my name for a deal." Kayla bit her lip. "He was manipulating both of us. I'm not proud of what I did." She looked down, pulling something from her bag. A folder, thick and worn. "This is a copy of his private correspondence with the Swiss partners. If you want to take him down, this will help." Olivia eyed it suspiciously. "Why now?" "Guilt doesn't make you generous." Kayla's jaw tightened. "Because he turned on me too. The press found my name on offshore accounts I didn't open. He's cutting me out of everything." Olivia studied her face. The same one that used to laugh beside her in college dorms, whispering secrets in the dark. Now it looked hollow, cracked. "Leave it on the table," Olivia said. "And don't ever come here again." "Pom." Kayla nodded, setting the folder down. "Olivia, please." But Olivia cut her off. "You made your choice when you walked into that suite." For a moment, neither spoke. The air between them felt like glass ready to shatter. Then Kayla whispered, "He's dangerous, Liv. He's watching you. He said if you go public, he'll make you look insane." Olivia crossed her arms. "Then he'll underestimate me, again." Kayla hesitated at the door. "Be careful," she said softly. You're not the only one he's ruined." Then she was gone. Silence settled like dust. Olivia stared at the folder on the table. Her instincts screamed not to trust it. Still, she opened it. Inside were printouts of emails between Adrian and a Swiss financier. The subject lines were chilling. Transfer confirmation. Account alias. Oh, Heart Zurich. She felt the floor tilt beneath her. They had created a fake account under her name to funnel money overseas. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number again. Nice try meeting with my people. You're in over your head. Her chest tightened. She looked toward the window. Across the street, a black SUV idled. Olivia whispered to herself, "Not this time." She snapped photos of every document, saved them on an encrypted drive, and slipped the folder into her bag. As she turned off the lights, the city outside glowed cold and cruel. And from the street below, behind the tinted window of that SUV, Adrian Cole smiled, watching her every move. By the time the sun set behind the Manhattan skyline, Olivia hadn't moved from her desk. The folder Kayla left sat open, its papers spread across her laptop like a crime scene. Each document confirmed what she already suspected. Adrian had forged her identity to create a fake Swiss account. But something else caught her eye. A hidden thread of email exchanges marked BCC. Someone else inside Colbridge had been copied on every message. The name stunned her, E. Jameson. Adrian's senior security officer. She typed his name into LinkedIn, scrolling until she found his profile. A brief description read, Information Security and Risk Control, Colbridge Capital. There was an office address listed on Fifth Avenue, only a few blocks away. Without thinking twice, she threw on her coat and headed out into the cold. The evening streets glimmered under the amber glow of streetlights. She moved fast, her breath fogging in the icy air. If Jameson was helping Adrian cover the fraud, she needed to know. But if he wasn't, maybe he could be her way inside. The elevator chimed at the 12th floor of a small office building. Olivia stepped out into a quiet corridor lined with glass doors. A man in his late 20s stood beside a printer, tall, lean, wearing a navy sweater over a white shirt. He looked up, startled. "Mr. Jameson?" she asked. He blinked. "You're Olivia Hart." Her stomach flipped. "You know me?" He nodded slowly, lowering his voice. "You shouldn't be here. He's tracking your phone." Olivia froze. "Who told you that?" He gestured her inside, locking the office door behind them. "Adrian's been paranoid since the leak. He had me set up remote access to your devices 2 weeks ago. I didn't know what he planned. When I realized he used your credentials for the Swiss account, I backed up the logs." Her pulse raced. "You have proof?" He nodded toward his desk. "Everything's on a secure drive. If you want it, you'll have to trust me." "Why would you help me?" she asked, suspicious. "Because I was supposed to delete Connor Doyle's security footage," he said quietly. "But I couldn't." "He didn't just disappear, Olivia. He was taken." Her throat tightened. "Taken?" Jameson's voice dropped. "2 men came to his apartment the night he met you. Building cameras caught them dragging him into a van registered to a shell company linked to Colbridge's logistics branch. I still have the backup footage." She covered her mouth, shaking. "My God." Jameson handed her a small encrypted USB drive. "Take it. But once you plug it in, it'll alert Adrian's system. He'll know someone copied the data." Olivia gripped the drive like it was the last piece of oxygen in the room. "Then I'll use it when I'm ready to expose him." Jameson nodded. "Be careful, Ms. Hart. You're playing a dangerous game." "I didn't start the game," she said, standing. He did. When she left the building, the city's wind hit her like a slap. She clutched the USB in her coat pocket, the weight of it anchoring her resolve. Somewhere behind her, a shadow moved across the street, someone following. She turned, but saw nothing except the glimmer of wet pavement. Back home, she stared at her reflection in the dark window. Fear flickered there, but so did fire. She wasn't the woman who ran from a gala anymore. And as she whispered to her reflection, "If he wants a war, he's got one." The lights in the opposite building blinked twice. Adrian's silent way of saying, "I'm watching you." Rain drummed against Olivia's windows like a warning. She sat at her desk, staring at the small encrypted USB drive Jameson had given her the night before. Its metallic surface reflected the city lights like a blade, She knew the moment she opened it, Adrian would know. But silence had already cost her too much. She plugged it in. The screen flickered, loading a folder titled Colebridge, SEC, Logs. Inside were hundreds of files, surveillance reports, email backups, metadata trails. Her eyes caught one labeled, Incident, Connor Doyle, January 2. With shaking hands, she opened it. Footage filled the screen. A grainy clip from a hallway security camera. Connor appeared, walking toward his apartment door. Two men followed seconds later, wearing black coats, their faces obscured. One grabbed him, the other pressed something over his mouth. Within seconds, he went limp. The timestamp read 11:58 p.m. Then the video cut to static. Olivia covered her mouth, bile rising in her throat. This wasn't just corruption anymore. It was criminal. Her phone buzzed violently across the desk. The caller ID was blocked. Against her better judgment, she answered. A calm, male voice filled the line. I warned you not to dig, Olivia. Her heart stuttered. Adrian, you think you understand what you're doing? His tone was steady, chilling. You're playing with fire you can't control. You'll burn everything, including yourself. I'm already burned, she whispered. But I'm not the one hiding behind lies. He laughed softly. You really think anyone will believe you? You're a disgraced ex-consultant with a personal vendetta. I own the narrative. I own the evidence. She swallowed. Not all of it. There was a pause. The air in her apartment seemed to vanish. You met Jameson, didn't you? Her blood ran cold. How? You think I don't know every person you've spoken to? Adrian said. He'll regret helping you. Leave him out of this. Too late, Adrian replied, voice dripping with contempt. You wanted a war. Don't cry when you lose. The line went dead. Olivia's breath came in sharp bursts. She dialed Elena immediately. He knows about Jameson, she said. Then we move now, Elena replied. You still have the drive? Yes. Bring it to my office tonight. I'll contact the Federal Securities Division myself. Olivia grabbed her coat, slipped the USB into an inside pocket, and rushed into the rain. The city was alive with sirens, steam, and secrets. Every shadow looked like a threat. She kept glancing over her shoulder, convinced someone was following her. When she reached the crosswalk near Park Avenue, a black SUV sped past, splashing icy water onto her legs. She froze as it stopped at the red light. Through the tinted window, she saw the faint silhouette of a man holding a phone. Adrian's driver. The light turned green, and the SUV vanished into traffic. Olivia exhaled shakily, forcing herself to keep walking. She reached Elena's building 20 minutes later, drenched, pulse racing. Inside, the office was dimly lit. Close the blinds, Elena said, locking the door behind them. Olivia handed her the drive. Elena inserted it into her computer, scanning the files. My God, she murmured. This isn't just insider trading. This is organized laundering. Offshore accounts, false disclosures, political donors. Olivia leaned against the wall, shaking. We can prove it? Elena nodded slowly. We can bury him. For the first time in weeks, Olivia felt the faint stir of hope. But before she could breathe, the power went out. Every light, every monitor. The office plunged into darkness. A low hum filled the silence. Then a single notification pinged on Elena's laptop screen, glowing faintly. Too late, Olivia. And at that moment, she realized Adrian wasn't trying to hide the truth anymore. He was daring her to survive it. New York shimmered in the icy glow of January's last weekend. Posters for the Colebridge Rebirth Gala fluttered across Park Avenue, an event meant to restore public confidence. It was Adrian's attempt to clean his image, hosted at the Ritz-Carlton, just 3 blocks from where Olivia once believed in him. The irony was perfect. Elena sat across from her in the car outside the hotel, the city lights reflecting on both their faces. You don't have to go in, Elena said. We can deliver the evidence tomorrow, quietly. Olivia shook her head. He humiliated me in front of everyone that night. He weaponized silence. I'll end this in front of them too. Elena's eyes softened. You're sure? Completely, Olivia said, sliding out of the car. Inside, the ballroom glowed gold. dripping with arrogance and champagne. Journalists hovered near the velvet ropes, cameras flashing as billionaires posed beneath the Coleridge logo. Adrian Cole stood at the center, immaculate in a navy tuxedo, his confidence rehearsed, his charm toxic. When he saw her, the mask faltered for a second. Olivia walked toward him, every click of her heels deliberate. Her dress, a crimson silk gown, cut through the black and white crowd like a wound that refused to close. Gasps followed her. People whispered her name. Olivia Hart, Adrian greeted, feigning surprise. "I didn't think you'd have the courage to show up." She smiled lightly. "I didn't think you'd have the courage to host a party while under investigation." He leaned closer, voice low. "Careful. You don't know who you're dealing with." "Oh, I do," she said. "A man who forges signatures, launders money, and buries witnesses." His smile froze. "You can't prove anything." She stepped closer, whispering in his ear. "I already did." Behind her, Elena entered with 2 agents from the Federal Securities Bureau, flashing discreet badges. One of them carried a small black case. The USB drive. The music faltered. A murmur rippled through the crowd as the agents approached the stage. Adrian tried to keep smiling, clapping his hands for the cameras. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new era of transparency." A voice cut him off. "Mr. Cole, we need to speak with you privately." Whispers erupted. Olivia stood still, her eyes locked on his. His expression hardened, fury replacing charm. "You set me up," he hissed under his breath. She tilted her head. "No, you set yourself up. I just turned the lights on." The agents escorted him toward the exit as camera flashes exploded. Kayla appeared from the crowd, pale and trembling. "Adrian, what's happening?" He glared at her. "You did this too." "I warned you," she whispered, tears streaming down. The reporters swarmed. "Mr. Cole, are you being charged? Is it true about the offshore accounts? Who is Olivia Hart to you?" Olivia said nothing. She stood tall beneath the chandelier as chaos unfolded around her. Elena touched her arm gently. "It's done," she said. Olivia exhaled for the first time in days. The orchestra had stopped playing, yet the silence felt like music. Outside, as Adrian was placed into a black federal vehicle, flashes lit up the street. For a fleeting moment, his eyes found hers through the glass. There was no hatred, no pleading, just realization. He'd lost everything to the woman he thought he owned. Olivia turned away before the door closed. Back inside, she lifted a champagne flute from a tray. The bubbles caught the light, dancing like tiny ghosts of her past life. "To integrity," she whispered, raising the glass to no one and everyone at once. And somewhere above, as fireworks burst over the skyline, the woman once humiliated at the plaza became the headline that ended a king. The morning after the gala, New York woke to a storm of headlines. Coleridge CEO arrested at Ritz-Carlton gala. The woman behind the fall. Olivia Hart speaks truth to power. Every news network replayed the moment Adrian Cole was escorted out in handcuffs, his million-dollar smile collapsing under the weight of flashbulbs. Olivia watched it from her apartment window, the city humming below. She wasn't smiling, not yet. She knew men like Adrian didn't vanish easily. Her phone rang. Elena's calm voice cut through the static. They charged him with securities fraud, wire fraud, and obstruction. The feds have enough to bury him for 20 years. Olivia let out a shaky breath. And Kayla? She's being questioned. She turned over her emails, tried to save herself. Of course she did. Kayla had always known how to survive storms she helped create. Olivia turned back to the TV. A journalist spoke over footage of agents seizing Coleridge's servers. Sources say federal investigators recovered internal communication logs linking the CEO to a series of offshore accounts. A whistleblower within the company is said to have provided critical evidence. That whistleblower was Jameson. He'd gone silent since the blackout at Elena's office. Olivia hadn't heard from him in 2 days. She sent him one final message that morning. "It's over. You did the right thing." No reply. By noon, the world began to turn its attention toward her. Her inbox flooded again, requests for interviews, talk show appearances, podcast deals. She deleted them all. The fame didn't matter. She hadn't done this for glory. She'd done it to breathe again. But peace still wouldn't come. Around 3 p.m., a knock rattled her door. She froze, her pulse spiking. Carefully, she opened it a few inches. A courier stood outside, holding a black envelope. "Delivery for Miss Hart," he said. She hesitated before taking it. Inside was a single photograph, a still from surveillance footage. Adrian, sitting in a holding cell, staring straight into the camera. On the back, in messy handwriting, "You didn't win, you just moved first." Her hands shook. It wasn't signed, but she didn't need to guess. Adrian had friends, people who benefited from his empire, people who weren't in handcuffs. Yet, she called Elena immediately. "I got a message. Someone's still protecting him." Elena didn't sound surprised. Powerful men always have shadows, but shadows vanish in daylight. "We'll make sure of it." That evening, Olivia agreed to meet the federal prosecutors at their downtown office. She wore a gray coat and carried only her statement. The city felt different now, quieter, as if holding its breath. When she entered the lobby, an agent escorted her to a private room. "Miss Hart," said Agent Porter, extending his hand. "We appreciate your cooperation. You've exposed one of the largest corporate laundering networks in recent memory." Olivia nodded, her voice steady. "I just told the truth." He smiled faintly. "Sometimes, that's the most dangerous thing in the world." As she signed the final page of her affidavit, she felt something loosen inside her chest, a quiet, weary kind of freedom. She walked out of the building, the wind whipping through her hair, and stopped at the corner of Wall Street. For years, she'd stood in Adrian's shadow. Now, his name was ashes, and hers was written in headlines. Her phone buzzed again. A new text appeared. No number, just words. "He'll never stop." Olivia looked up at the cold sky and whispered, "Neither will I." And somewhere behind prison bars, Adrian Cole smiled at the TV screen showing her photo, the smile of a man who wasn't done playing yet. The next 48 hours turned Manhattan into a battlefield of headlines, podcasts, and talk show debates. Olivia's name trended everywhere. Number Olivia Hart. Number Colbridge collapse. Number the Plaza betrayal. Some called her a hero. Others painted her as the woman who destroyed a billion-dollar empire. So, she stared at the morning papers laid out across her coffee table. Her face, captured mid-step leaving the federal building, looked cold, fierce, almost defiant. But inside, she felt hollow. Justice, it turned out, didn't silence noise, it amplified it. Across the city, Colbridge's board scrambled to distance itself from Adrian's downfall. Stock prices plummeted. Investors fled. Kayla Brooks went on national television that afternoon, mascara perfectly in place, voice trembling just enough to earn sympathy. "I was manipulated," Kayla said, tears glistening. "Adrian used both of us. I thought Olivia was part of it. I was wrong. I wish I could take it back." Olivia watched from her couch, hands tightening around a coffee mug. Kayla's performance was flawless. The same talent that once made her an incredible PR strategist now made her a convincing victim. Her phone rang. "Elena." "Don't respond publicly," Elena warned. "Kayla's playing the redemption card. The moment you clap back, you look petty. Stay silent and let the evidence speak." "I'm tired of silence," Olivia said quietly. "That's what let Adrian win for so long." "I know," Elena said. "But this isn't about noise anymore. It's about survival." Olivia sighed, setting the mug down. "Fine, I'll keep quiet. But if she lies again, I won't." Savin. That evening, she met Elena at a small bistro on Fifth Avenue, the same place she once brainstormed campaigns with Adrian. Now, it felt like sacred ground reclaimed. The waitress recognized Olivia and whispered, "You're brave," before leaving them alone. Elena spread out a stack of folders on the table. "Federal agents uncovered something new," she said. "Adrian's network goes deeper. Politicians, investors, offshore charities. It's systemic." Olivia frowned, meaning he wasn't working alone. "Exactly. And someone with that much reach won't let you walk away unscathed. They'll come for you next, not with threats, but with whispers." Elena slid a manila envelope toward her. Inside were screenshots of online posts, anonymous forums filled with coordinated hate. Olivia fabricated evidence. Jealous ex-ruins innocent CEO. She wanted fame. Olivia's stomach churned. They're already doing it. Yes, Elena said. Which means you're winning. Sell. Later that night, Olivia returned home to find her mailbox overflowing letters from strangers. Some thanked her for standing up. Others were venomous, calling her names she hadn't heard since high school. She stacked them neatly, one pile for courage, one for hate. Both, she decided, would feed her resolve. She turned on the TV. The evening news showed footage of Adrian being led into court for arraignment, his lawyers shouting no comment, as reporters yelled questions. He looked thinner, angrier. For a moment, she almost felt pity. Almost. Then the reporter's voice sharpened. Sources confirm Adrian Cole's defense will claim evidence tampering by Olivia Hart. Her breath caught. What? The camera zoomed in on his attorney, smirking confidently. My client was framed, he said. Certain individuals fabricated documents for personal revenge. Elena's call came seconds later. He's going to flip the narrative, Olivia. He's betting on your silence again. 2. Olivia walked to her window, staring out at the lights of Manhattan. Then maybe it's time I start speaking. She grabbed her laptop, opened a blank document, and began to type. Not a rebuttal. Not a tweet. A manifesto. Her truth in her words. And as the city roared below, she swore this would be the last time anyone else told her story for her. The following morning, Manhattan woke under gray skies and bitter wind, but Olivia Hart felt strangely calm. She hadn't slept. She'd spent the night writing. Not a press release, not a defense, a confession of truth. Her truth. Every lie Adrian built, every manipulation Kayla performed, every scar she earned, she wrote it all. By dawn, she'd titled it simply, The Price of Integrity. She uploaded the document to her website and attached every piece of verified evidence, timestamps, bank statements, federal filings. No gossip, no venom, just facts and the raw voice of a woman who refused to disappear. Then, with one click, she hit publish. Within an hour, the internet ignited. Thousands of comments flooded in, some in awe, some in rage, many in tears. This isn't revenge, this is courage. She didn't ruin him, he ruined himself. News anchors debated her motives. PR experts analyzed every sentence. But unlike before, Olivia didn't hide. She dressed in a soft gray coat, brewed a cup of coffee, and watched the storm from her window. When Elena called, her tone was half disbelief, half admiration. You just did what entire law firms are afraid to do. You told the world the truth without asking permission. I was never going to win by their rules, Olivia said. So I wrote my own. By noon, The Price of Integrity had over 2 million views. Hashtags shifted from number Colbridge collapse to number Olivia Hart speaks. The narrative had changed. She was no longer the woman scorned. She was the woman who wouldn't break. But victories in Manhattan never come without a cost. Around 3 p.m., a message appeared in her inbox. No name, no subject line, just a single file attached. Connor, D. MP4. Her heart froze. She clicked it. The video began with static, then a flicker of light. Connor Doyle sat in what looked like a dark warehouse, tied to a chair. His face was bruised, his voice trembled. Olivia, if you get this, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you into this. The image cut out. Her hands shook. No, no, no. Another message appeared seconds later. You made this public. Now it's our turn. She called Elena instantly. They have him. They sent me a video. Elena's tone hardened. Listen carefully. Don't engage. Forward everything to the bureau. You've got to stay somewhere safe. Safe? Olivia laughed bitterly. There's no such thing when you threaten men like Adrian. Elena hesitated. I know someone who can help. He's former law enforcement. Trust him. He'll meet you tonight. When Olivia hung up, she sat in silence for a long time. The city outside roared with traffic, indifferent to the storm unraveling in her chest. She packed a small bag, laptop, hard drives, the USB Jameson gave her, and a single photograph of her parents. Then, as she was about to leave, her doorbell rang. One long buzz, then silence. She froze. Slowly, she approached the door and looked through the peephole. A man stood there in a dark coat, face half hidden by a cap. His voice was calm, too calm. "Miss Hart, Elena sent me." Her instinct screamed no. But something in his tone was steady, grounding. She unlocked the door. He handed her a card. "Ethan Reyes, private security consultant. Pack your things," he said. "You're not safe here tonight." "Biza." Olivia hesitated, still clutching the hard drive. "Do you work for her?" "No," he said quietly. "I work for the truth." She met his gaze, sharp, unwavering. And for the first time in months, she felt something unfamiliar, trust. And as the elevator doors closed behind them, neither saw the red laser dot glide briefly across her apartment window, then vanish. The car sped through Manhattan's midnight streets, headlights slicing the rain like knives. Olivia sat in the backseat beside Ethan Reyes, the quiet ex-detective Elena had sent. His jaw was sharp, his eyes focused on the road, scanning every mirror. The tension in the air was thick enough to touch. "Where are we going?" she asked finally, her voice tight. "Someplace where Colbridge money can't reach," he said. "A safe house in Soho, owned by someone who owes me." Olivia clutched her bag, feeling the weight of the USB drive pressing against her ribs. "They sent me a video," she whispered. "Connor, he's alive, or he was." Ethan's grip on the steering wheel tightened. "Then we get him back. But first, we keep you breathing." They turned down a quiet cobblestone street. A steel gate opened to a loft hidden behind an art gallery. Inside, the space was sparse but warm brick walls, soft lamps, and the faint hum of jazz. Ethan poured her water and locked every door. "You've done this before," Olivia said. He nodded. "Long time ago. I used to track people who didn't want to be found." She stared at him. "So why help me?" He shrugged. "Because truth needs armor, and you've been walking into bullets without one." For the first time in days, Olivia almost smiled, but it didn't last. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A text appeared. "Your story bought you fame. Now it'll cost you someone." Attached was a photo. Elena, standing outside her office, unaware of the camera. Olivia's stomach dropped. "They're watching her." Ethan read the message, jaw tightening. "Turn it off. Right now." He grabbed the phone, popped out the SIM card, and crushed it under his boot. "We move at dawn. You and Elena are both targets now." Olivia sat down, heart pounding. "This isn't just about Adrian anymore," she said quietly. "This is about power. Someone above him is pulling strings." Ethan met her gaze. "That's exactly why he's dangerous in prison. He's not cut off, he's connected." Both. The rain outside softened into mist. Olivia stood by the window, staring at the lights across the river. "I thought once he was gone, I'd feel free," she whispered. "But all I feel is hunted." Ethan moved beside her. "Freedom doesn't come after truth. It comes after survival." For a moment, they stood in silence, the city glowing beneath them. Then he turned, pulling a small envelope from his jacket. "Elena wanted me to give you this. It's from the California brand you consulted for last year, Blue Wave Home Goods. They're offering you a permanent position. 6 figures. West Coast." Olivia blinked. "You're saying leave?" He nodded. "Disappear. Let the system finish what you started. You've done your part." Her hands trembled. "If I walk away now, Adrian wins. He's already in a cage," Ethan said softly. "Don't turn it into yours." She looked down at the envelope, the promise of peace inside it. She could almost smell the ocean, the life she'd wanted before Manhattan consumed her. But then she remembered Connor's terrified face, Kayla's trembling confession, the photo of Elena being watched. She closed the envelope slowly. "Not yet," she said. "Not until everyone he hurt can sleep again." Ethan studied her for a long moment, admiration flickering behind his calm expression. "Then I guess I'm staying, too." Olivia met his gaze. For the first time, the silence between them wasn't fear, it was understanding. And somewhere across the city, in a high-security cell, Adrian Cole picked up a prison phone and smiled. "Tell her," he murmured to the guard beside him, "the king still has one last move." The storm had passed, but the city still carried its bruises, puddles of dirty snow, shattered umbrellas, the metallic scent of rain clinging to steel and glass. Olivia hadn't slept. She paced the loft like a ghost, while Ethan made coffee and pretended not to notice the way her hands shook. Just as the first light broke through the gray sky, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. She almost ignored it, until she saw the message. "Meet me. One last time. I can end this." It was signed, Kayla. Ethan read the screen over her shoulder. "Trap," he said flatly. "Maybe," Olivia replied. "But she's the only one left who knows everything." He studied her face, then sighed. "Where?" "The old fountain behind the Met." Noon. By the time Olivia arrived, the park was almost empty, quiet except for the wind whispering through bare trees. Kayla sat on the edge of the fountain in a camel coat, oversized sunglasses hiding most of her face. She looked smaller than Olivia remembered, fragile, haunted. Olivia stopped a few feet away. "You picked a public place. Smart." Kayla gave a humorless smile. "You think I'd survive anywhere private with you?" Olivia folded her arms. "Then start talking." Kayla removed her glasses. Her eyes were red, not from makeup, from sleepless guilt. "He used me, Liv. He used both of us. When Adrian realized the feds had enough evidence, he activated his failsafe." "What failsafe?" "The Zurich account wasn't just money laundering," Kayla said. "It's a trigger. If anyone tries to withdraw or freeze the funds, a document gets sent automatically to an offshore journalist network, a file naming you as the architect. Adrian made sure your name stays tied to his crimes forever." Olivia's blood went cold. "So, even from prison, he can destroy me." Kayla nodded. "Unless we stop it." She handed Olivia a small flash drive. "This contains the access codes. You can disable the trigger, but you'll have to use Coleridge's internal terminal, and that means walking straight into the lion's den." Olivia clenched her fists. "Why give me this? Redemption?" Kayla looked away. "Because I'm dying, Liv." Olivia froze. "What?" Kayla's voice broke. "Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. 6 months, if I'm lucky." Adrian knew. He promised to take care of me if I helped him. Instead, he left me to rot. For a long moment, Olivia couldn't speak. The woman who had betrayed her, who had stolen everything, suddenly looked like the girl she used to know. Scared. Desperate. Human. Kayla reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. "There's one more thing. A letter. For the feds. It names every contact Adrian used. When I'm gone, they'll need this." Olivia took the envelope, her throat tightening. "You could have given this weeks ago. I wanted to see your face first," Kayla said softly. "To say I'm sorry. Not for falling in love with him, but for not believing in you when it mattered." Tears stung Olivia's eyes. Kayla smiled weakly. "You always were the brave one." They sat in silence for a moment, snow beginning to fall again, soft and soundless. Then Kayla stood, pulling her coat tighter. "Do something good with what's left of this story." As she walked away, Olivia called out, "Kayla, if I stop this, what happens to you?" Kayla turned, the wind catching her hair. "Don't worry about me. I've already been punished." An hour later, Ethan found Olivia still standing by the fountain, clutching the flash drive and letter like relics. "What did she say?" he asked. Olivia's voice was low, steady. "She gave me the key to end it." Ethan frowned. "And the cost?" She looked toward the gray horizon. "Forgiveness. 2. And miles away, in a hospital room under an alias, Kayla Brooks whispered a single word before closing her eyes. Freedom. The snow had turned to sleet by the time Olivia returned to the Soho loft. The flash drive Kayla had given her felt heavy in her pocket, heavier than truth itself. Ethan was waiting by the window, watching the rain blur Manhattan's skyline into streaks of light. "She showed up?" he asked without turning around. Olivia nodded, peeling off her wet coat. "She's dying. But before she does, she gave me something that could finish this." She placed the flash drive on the table like a live grenade. Ethan's eyes darkened. "You sure it's not a trap?" "She didn't have a reason to lie," Olivia said quietly. "The codes inside connect to Coleridge's Zurich server. It's Adrian's kill switch. If I use it, I can disable the trigger that ties my name to his crimes. And if you're wrong, then the whole system detonates," she said. "And I go down with him. Trait, For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the heater and the distant sirens outside. Ethan exhaled slowly. If we're doing this, we're not doing it alone. I've got someone at the bureau I can trust. He can create a backdoor in case it's a trap. Olivia met his gaze. And if it's not, then you finally get your life back. They left before dawn. The Coleridge Tower on Park Avenue loomed like a black monolith, empty since the scandal but still guarded by private security. Ethan drove, eyes fixed ahead. Olivia clutched the flash drive in one hand, the letter Kayla had written in the other. When they reached the service entrance, Ethan swiped a borrowed key card. The door clicked open. Inside, the air smelled of dust and paper, a tomb for the empire Adrian built. They moved through the empty halls until they reached the executive suite. The same glass walls, where Adrian once toasted investors, now reflected only moonlight. Terminals here, Ethan said, powering up a workstation. The Coleridge logo flickered to life. You've got 5 minutes before their network flags this. Olivia plugged in the drive. The monitor filled with lines of encrypted code. She typed in the access credentials Kayla had scribbled on the back of the envelope. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the screen turned red. Authorization required. Secondary biometric. Her pulse quickened. What does that mean? Ethan frowned. It's a 2-step key. The second authorization must come from Adrian himself. That's impossible, Olivia said. He's in prison. Not impossible, Ethan murmured. Just dangerous. He began typing rapidly, creating a mirrored login. If he tries to access his account, I can intercept the biometric ping and reroute it through this machine. How long? 60 seconds, maybe less. Olivia swallowed hard. Do it. He hit enter. Across the city, in a federal holding facility, an alert pinged on Adrian's private network. He looked up from his cell phone. Contraband he'd bribed a guard to keep. The screen flashed. Remote access request. Zurich account, oh heart. A slow, knowing smile curved his lips. So she found it. He pressed his thumb to the screen. Back in the Coleridge Tower, the system beeped. Ethan grinned. Got it, the connection's live. Olivia hit execute. The codes blurred across the screen. Lines of digital warfare. A countdown began. 5, 4, 3. Then the screen flashed. Trigger disabled. Account terminated. It was over. Olivia sagged into the chair, tears blurring her vision. It's done, she whispered. But Ethan's expression didn't ease. He pointed to the monitor. No. Look. A new line appeared, scrolling slowly across the screen. Congratulations, Olivia. Check your inbox. Her laptop pinged. A new email. The subject line froze her blood. You killed the wrong account. Attached was a single video file labeled Jameson, and as she clicked it open, Ethan whispered, he's still one step ahead. The sound of rain against the glass was deafening. Olivia's trembling fingers hovered over the trackpad, staring at the email. The subject line, you killed the wrong account, felt like a blade pressed to her throat. Ethan leaned closer, his expression tense. Don't open it yet, he warned. Olivia's voice was barely a whisper. If it's about Jameson, I have to. She clicked. The screen filled with static before the image sharpened. A dim room appeared, the walls concrete, a single light swinging above. Jameson sat tied to a chair, bruised but alive. His voice was hoarse, but steady. Olivia, he said, looking directly into the camera. If you're seeing this, it means Adrian anticipated you'd find the Zurich trigger. You didn't shut down his network. You redirected it. The account you destroyed was a decoy. Olivia's heart stopped. Jameson continued, coughing. The real server is hidden inside a foundation, the Coleridge Global Initiative. It's listed as a charity for education in Eastern Europe, but it's a shell. It stores backups of every illegal transfer under anonymous IDs. If you want to end this, that's where you go. He paused, his gaze darkening. Be careful, there's more at stake than money. Adrian's network involves people in government, law, and media. Once you pull this thread, they'll come for you, not to silence you, but to erase you. The video cut abruptly, replaced by a black screen and a single line of text. Every truth costs blood. Olivia sat frozen. her pulse hammering. "He's alive," she whispered, half in disbelief, half in terror. Ethan rubbed his jaw. "Adrian planted this. He wants to bait you." "Maybe," Olivia said, but Jameson wouldn't fake fear. He knew I'd see through it. Ethan paced the room, his boots echoing against the marble. "If what he said is true, the Foundation servers are protected by international banking firewalls. That's not something we can crack." "Then we find someone who can," Olivia replied, determination slicing through her fear. Ethan stopped pacing. "Olivia, listen to me. You've already burned the bridge. You exposed him. You survived. If you chase this, there's no coming back. You'll lose everything. Your career, your safety, maybe even." He didn't finish. She met his eyes. "I already lost everything once. I won't live with half-truths again." He sighed. "Then you're not doing it alone." She smiled faintly. "I was counting on that." By midnight, they were in Ethan's car, driving through Lower Manhattan toward the East River. Olivia's laptop glowed in her lap, open to an encrypted map of shell organizations tied to Coalbridge. One red dot blinked near Wall Street, Coalbridge Global Initiative HQ. When they arrived, the building looked abandoned, its sign faded, windows dark. But inside, motion sensors flickered to life as they entered. Rows of dormant servers lined the walls like steel tombstones. Ethan pulled out a portable decryptor. "We'll have 5 minutes before the alarm pings the federal system." Olivia connected her laptop. Entered the credentials Jameson had once shown her. The monitor flooded with data, thousands of transactions, names of donors, politicians, offshore accounts. Adrian's empire wasn't dead. It was thriving beneath another name. "Got it," she said breathlessly. "We can transfer all this to a secure government node." Then the power cut. Darkness swallowed the room. A slow clap echoed from the shadows. "Impressive, Olivia," a voice drawled. She froze. The tone was unmistakable, smooth, arrogant, venomous. Ethan reached for his gun. "Show yourself." A flashlight beam sliced through the dark, illuminating a familiar smirk. Adrian Cole. Alive, free. "No prison holds a king for long," he said calmly. "You've been chasing ghosts, darling. Now you've found the man behind them." Olivia's breath caught. "You were never arrested." He smiled. "The man they cuffed was an actor. The Bureau never checked the prints. You helped me erase the evidence yourself." Ethan stepped forward, weapon raised. "End of the road, Cole." "Sen." Adrian's grin widened. "Oh, Ethan, it's only the beginning." And as a hidden explosive light blinked on the nearest server, Olivia realized this wasn't a victory. It was a trap set long before she even knew she was the prey. For one frozen second, everything stopped. The blinking red light, the hum of the servers, the thunder of Olivia's pulse in her ears. Then Ethan shouted, "Down!" and pulled her behind a metal console. The explosion hit a heartbeat later, a violent roar that shattered glass and flung debris like shrapnel. Heat seared the air. The servers went up in flames. Olivia's head hit the floor, ringing with pain. Smoke filled her lungs. She coughed, pushing herself up as alarms wailed through the dark. "Ethan." He groaned nearby, covered in dust but alive. "I'm good," he coughed hard. "You?" "I've been better," she rasped. Through the smoke, Adrian Cole's figure emerged, untouched, calm, almost elegant in the chaos. "It's poetic, isn't it?" he said, voice smooth as ever. "You came all this way to kill what's already dead." Olivia's vision blurred. "You burned the evidence." Adrian smiled. "You still don't understand, Olivia. The evidence is me. I am the system. Every name, every offshore account, every investor you thought you exposed. They were all parts of something bigger. Cut off one head, 3 grow back." Ethan pulled his gun, limping. "You're finished, Cole." Adrian tilted his head, almost amused. "You can't shoot me. I'm the only one who knows how deep this goes. Without me, the whole city burns." Olivia staggered to her feet, her body shaking. "Then let it burn." She reached for the emergency panel on the wall. Her fingers found the override switch. Sparks flickered through the smoke as she flipped it. A mechanical hiss echoed, the fire suppression system kicking in. Jets of white foam burst from the ceiling, smothering the flames. Adrian's composure cracked for the first time. "You don't know what you're doing." "Oh, I do," she said. "I'm saving proof you didn't destroy it, because I know you. You'd never blow up your real data. You'd keep it close." His jaw tightened. "You can't access it without my key." Ethan steadied himself beside her, pointing the gun straight at Adrian. "Then you'll give it to her." Adrian smirked. "Do you really think she'll pull the trigger?" The Olivia I knew couldn't even raise her voice. Olivia stepped forward until they were face to face, smoke curling between them. "You're right," she said softly. "That Olivia's dead." She raised her hand, not with a gun, but with her phone. On its cracked screen glowed a live feed of the server room's data logs uploading to an external cloud. Ethan's decryptor had done its job before the blast. The backup survived. Adrian's eyes widened. "Oh yes," she said. "Every file, every offshore transfer, every name, it's already out there. By the time you find the source, it'll be in the hands of every major news outlet in the country." His mask slipped. "You think this ends me? You have no idea who you're playing with." Olivia met his fury with calm. "No, Adrian. I finally do. And that's why I'm not afraid anymore." He lunged toward her, rage blinding him, but Ethan was faster. A single gunshot shattered the noise. Adrian froze, disbelief flickering across his face before he collapsed. The echo hung heavy in the air. Ethan's hands trembled slightly. "It's over." Olivia knelt beside Adrian's body, eyes glistening. "No," she whispered. "It's just the truth catching up." Outside, the wail of sirens grew louder. Federal agents swarmed the building as Olivia and Ethan stepped into the cold night. Faces smeared with ash. Reporters' voices carried over the chaos. Coalbridge kingpin dead. Massive data leak exposes global corruption network. Olivia looked up at the sky, the city lights flickering through the mist like new stars. "I told him the truth would burn," she said softly. "I just never knew it would burn this bright." And as dawn broke over Manhattan, the woman who once fled in shame walked into the sunrise, not as a victim, but as the fire that cleansed it all. Morning crept over Manhattan like a sigh. Gray, soft, uncertain. The city that once cheered for Adrian Cole now whispered Olivia Hart's name. Helicopters circled over Park Avenue as federal agents carried out what news anchors were calling the largest white-collar takedown in 2 decades. Olivia sat on the steps outside the Coalbridge Tower, a wool blanket draped over her shoulders. Her hair was still damp from the fire, her throat raw from smoke. Ethan stood beside her, silent, watching the swarm of reporters and flashing cameras. "Are you ready for this?" he asked quietly. Olivia gave a tired smile. "I don't think anyone's ever ready to become a headline." She looked up. Across the street, a massive LED screen replayed her own image from the night before. Her walking out of the burning tower, Ethan at her side, surrounded by flames and chaos. Beneath it, the caption read, "Olivia Hart, the woman who brought down the king." 5. She almost laughed at the irony. There was no triumph in her heart, only an ache where anger used to live. "I didn't bring him down," she murmured. "He built his own fall." Ethan crouched beside her. "Maybe, but you made sure the world saw it." Reporters called her name, microphones thrust forward. "Olivia, did you plan the data leak? Was Adrian Cole still alive before the explosion? Are you afraid of retaliation?" She didn't answer. She'd already given her statement to the Bureau. That Adrian triggered the explosion, that the files uploaded automatically, that she never intended for anyone to die. Truth, once again, had cost more than she'd ever imagined. Elena arrived soon after, her coat still buttoned, her hair streaked with ash. "You're a legend," she said softly. "Half the country's calling you a hero, the other half's calling you a criminal. Which half are you?" Olivia asked. Elena smiled faintly. "The half that believes you did what needed to be done." She handed Olivia a document, a federal clearance letter granting her full immunity as a cooperating witness. "It's over," Elena said. "Officially." Olivia stared at the paper, her name printed neatly at the top. For the first time in months, she felt her chest loosen, the air finally reaching her lungs. "Over," she repeated, as if testing the word. But then Ethan's phone buzzed. He frowned, reading a notification. "You should see this." He turned the screen toward her. A live broadcast showed federal trucks arriving at a private airfield on Long Island. The anchor's voice was sharp. Breaking news. An unidentified aircraft attempted to depart with classified Colbridge documents before sunrise. Sources say the pilot was Kayla Brooks, believed dead. Olivia's pulse stilled. Kayla? Alina's expression hardened. She's alive? The screen zoomed in. Kayla, pale and gaunt but unmistakably alive, being led away in handcuffs. Even through the lens, her eyes looked hollow. Olivia whispered. She knew he'd die. She tried to run with his legacy. Alina exhaled. She'll face trial. But you're free to start over. For a long moment, Olivia said nothing. She watched the smoke rise from the tower behind them, curling into the morning sky like the last ghost of everything she'd lost. Then she looked at Ethan. Start over where? He smiled, slipping a folded envelope into her hand. The same offer from Blue Wave Home Goods in California. You told me once you wanted the ocean. Maybe it's time. Olivia stared at it, the thought of sunlight and peace feeling almost foreign. And you? I'll make sure no one rewrites your story, he said simply. The noise of the crowd faded. The city that had broken her was finally letting her go. Olivia stood, taking one last look at the skyline, the battlefield that had forged her. I came here to build a life, she whispered. Instead, I built the truth. Ethan nodded. And that's something no one can burn. And as she walked away into the pale morning light, cameras still flashing behind her, Olivia Hart became not a symbol of scandal, but a reminder that even in a city built on lies, one woman's truth could still rewrite history. 6 months later, the Pacific breeze carried the scent of salt and new beginnings. Olivia Hart stood barefoot on a quiet stretch of beach in Carmel, California, her hair pulled back, her linen dress fluttering against the wind. The waves rolled in and retreated like steady breaths, the kind of rhythm she hadn't known in years. Behind her, a small cottage overlooked the cliffs. It wasn't grand like her old Manhattan apartment, but it was hers. Every cup, every book, every quiet morning belonged to her now. The chaos of the Colbridge scandal had become a chapter the world discussed without truly understanding, but Olivia no longer lived inside it. She sipped from a steaming cup of coffee and scrolled through her phone. Headlines still lingered. Colbridge legacy dissolved. Kayla Brooks sentenced to 10 years. Whistleblower Olivia Hart refuses public spotlight. Par. She smiled faintly. The world always needed a headline. She didn't. The sound of a car pulling up on the gravel broke her thoughts. She turned. Ethan stepped out of a silver Toyota, wearing sunglasses and that half-smile she'd come to rely on. He carried a small brown box under his arm. You really did it, he said, walking toward her. You disappeared. I didn't disappear, Olivia replied softly. I just stopped performing. He chuckled, handing her the box. Delivery from Elena. She said it's something you earned. Inside, wrapped in brown paper, was a Mont Blanc pen, the same brand Adrian once flaunted at every meeting. A note was taped beside it. Use it to write something worth keeping. E. Olivia laughed, tears welling unexpectedly. She always did know how to make a point. Ethan leaned against the railing. They're reopening Colbridge as a public foundation, using the frozen assets for scholarships. Your testimony made that happen. When? Olivia looked out toward the horizon, where the sky melted into gold. Good, she said. Let something good grow out of the ashes. They stood in silence for a moment, listening to the waves crash against the rocks. Then Ethan asked quietly, Do you ever miss it, New York? Olivia smiled faintly. Sometimes. The noise, the energy, the illusion that everything matters. But then I remember, I don't need skyscrapers to feel alive anymore. He nodded. So what's next for you, Olivia Hart? She turned to him, her eyes soft but certain. A book, she said. Not about him, not about the scandal. About women who survive what tries to silence them. Ethan grinned. You already have the title? She looked back toward the sea. The Sun After Manhattan. He smiled, fitting. Olivia set her coffee cup down and stepped closer to the edge of the cliff. You know, she said quietly, the night he betrayed me, I thought my life ended at the plaza. But maybe that was just where it began. Ethan's gaze lingered on her. You rebuilt yourself, Liv. Piece by piece. She nodded. No. I didn't rebuild the old me. I buried her, and I built someone better. A gust of wind swept through, carrying her hair across her face. She closed her eyes and breathed it in: salt, sunlight, freedom. Her phone buzzed one last time, an email notification. She glanced at the screen. It was from a literary publisher in Los Angeles. "We read your essay. We'd like to offer you a book deal." Olivia laughed, the sound light and pure, unburdened. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Good news?" "The best," she said. "The story's just beginning." He smiled. "Then let's toast to that." They clinked coffee cups instead of champagne glasses. The ocean glimmered beneath them, endless and forgiving. As the sun dipped low, casting the water in gold, Olivia whispered to herself, not in anger or regret, but in peace. Every truth costs blood, but it also buys freedom. And when the last light of day kissed the Pacific, Olivia Hart finally understood. Revenge had ended in Manhattan, but redemption began here. So, that's how the story ends. But if you're still here right now, listening, maybe something in Olivia's journey touched your heart. Maybe it reminded you of your own battles, the times you were betrayed, or the moments you had to rebuild from nothing. What Olivia learned, and what I hope you feel too, is that pain doesn't define us. How we rise from it does. Like the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The obstacle is the way." Every heartbreak, every loss, every injustice can become the path to strength if we refuse to let bitterness win. You see, forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. And sometimes, healing doesn't mean forgetting the fire. It means realizing you survived it, and you're still standing. So tonight, take a breath. Whatever storm you're facing, remember Olivia's story, and remember that the sun always comes after Manhattan. If this story made you feel something, even just a little, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs hope, and don't forget to subscribe. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we help you remember your power. You're still here for a reason, my friend. And that reason is beautiful.